Hi, today we're going to talk about the difference between tone and mood. These are often terms that students mix up when they're thinking about them, and hopefully this video is going to clarify it. So the first thing is tone. Tone is actually the attitude of the speaker toward the subject. You may have heard your parents sometimes say, "Don't take that tone of voice with me," and that's really what they're talking about. And it's through that attitude of the speaker that we get an understanding of, well, how they view certain things. If you call a dog a cute little bugger, well, clearly your tone is an endearing one. But if you call it a detestable monster, this isn't an animal that you enjoy. Now, on the other hand, mood is the emotional atmosphere that's created for the reader, if it's in a story or a poem. But it's also the emotional atmosphere that's simply created. If you are on a date, you might want to create a romantic mood with some music or candlelight. So when you think of mood, think of that reaction. Now, these can be interconnected. If someone is yelling at you with, say, an angry or hostile tone, it can affect the mood. It can create a frightening mood, or perhaps you're a stronger individual, and it actually creates this defiant mood within you. But regardless, they are intertwined. Now, usually, however, mood does not affect the tone of the person speaking, or the tone of the speaker in the poem. It's the reverse, where the tone can affect the mood. Let's take a closer look. So tone can be adjusted via diction or connotations in poetry. So for example, if you look at this sentence, "It's terrible that Tony was let go. He was such a great colleague." Those words in red let us know how the speaker feels about Tony, and I'm sure you can guess. Now, another person could say this: "I'm so glad that jerk was fired. Now I won't have to deal with him anymore." And clearly the tone, the feeling of the speakers towards Tony is vastly different. Here are a few more examples. "The movie was amazing. I was laughing so hard I cried," versus your friend who says you can only watch infantile humor for so long before you want to punch yourself in the face. Again, it's the words and phrases that are highlighted either in red or blue that indicate the tone of the two speakers. Let's look at a third example. "I can't believe he would do that." Clearly, this parent feels a certain way about his son, whereas the other parent saying, "I'm proud of Billy for sticking up for himself. That bully had it coming." Obviously, he has a different feeling towards Billy and the action that occurred. Let's take a look at mood. Now, mood is a bit more complicated and can be, in literature at least, can be affected by setting or characters or the pacing or the action that's occurred or even the tone of the speaker. So in one example here, the words that are in red are descriptions of the character. And then the words that are in blue are descriptions of the setting. Take a moment to read the paragraph. So what sort of a mood is being created with these descriptions, with those words twisting, grappling, and wind wide awake, and prying and hooting? Certainly there's one of tension here, maybe even a feeling that something ominous is about to happen, so that mood of foreboding. On the other hand, look at these lines from Edgar Allan Poe's poem Annabel Lee. In green, we see some of the descriptions about either Annabel Lee or the natural world. We also see in red those direct declarations of how he feels about Annabel Lee herself, "My darling, my darling." And then in blue, we see the setting of where she currently is now. Now, of course, towards Annabel Lee, he has a tone, an endearing tone, a passionate tone, and that's clearly there through the word choice. However, the subject of this poem isn't just Annabel Lee, but the fact that she's dead. And so when we combine that passionate tone for Annabel Lee with the description of the sepulcher and the tomb, we realize that the mood created in this poem is actually one of sadness or nostalgia for that missing Annabel Lee. Hopefully this solves some of the questions that you have. If you have any additional questions, be sure to put them in the comment section below. Thanks a lot.